And hello, South Florida. Welcome to the Real Estate Show, the Friday edition of the Real Estate Show. It's TGIF, TGIF, TGIF time. 3 times? You bet. Thank God it's Friday. We all know that, TGIF. Thank God it's Florida. If you're within the sound of my voice on the airwaves, then thank God it's Florida indeed. And everyone else that's listening to us literally across the globe, thank God it's finished. It's been a busy week. I'll tell you, last night when I laid down, it was lights out for me. It was just such a busy week. We started the week off with our Monday on a Mission, talking about our fearless first-time home buyer workshop. And in a minute, I'm going to give out the special text line. Today's the last day. I'm going to give out the special letters that we've been giving out all week long for the text line, which will generate for you our reports that we gave. You know, we had the presentation of the fearless first time workshop, the 7 mistakes not to make that we talked about during the workshop. We talked about a number of different loan programs that are designed specifically for first-time home buyers, and we tried to describe and take sort of the mystery and the fear out of the loan programs. We also announced there are some programs for our frontline heroes, so special loans with special considerations for firemen, policemen, teachers, nurses, doctors, and all of the support folks that work with these are also eligible for what I just think is a dynamite and deserving program. Then we talked about the down payment assistance, and as I like to say, and this is the letters that you're going to want to text in just a second. You want to text DPA to 561 861-2366. I always say, whip out your phone. Plug this in your phone. That's where you text from. You might as well save it under the Real Estate Show text line. And the number that you want to put in your phone, do it with me. It's 561-861-2366. And that is a 24-hour automated text line. So when you type in the letters that I give out that day, and today I have a special bonus text at the end of the show, as I'm going to tell you about a really neat opportunity, a fun thing we're going to do for the next couple of shows, or actually this is a challenge that we're going to issue, and it'll span, for a time period. I'll get into that in just a second. But again, that number is 561-861-2366. And text letters DPA, you can do it anytime, won't interrupt the show. You don't have to wait till the end of the show, but it will confirm that you have been entered to receive the report. And I might as well say it right now. I was going to save it for a little bit later, but due to the very high demand that we had on our last workshop, we have now decided to open up one more webinar for the folks that were not able to be included in the last one. So if you texted and you weren't able to attend this last show, or if you had a scheduling conflict, take advantage that on November 30th, that's a Tuesday night, on November 30th at 7:30 p.m., we're going to be hosting what's probably going to be now the final webinar of the year. And so all you have to do in order to secure your registration and to get the free report and to get the other things that I talked about earlier this week, all of those will come to you probably. They're being generated as we're speaking. So probably if it doesn't go out tonight, it'll go out tomorrow to only those folks that text DPA to 561-861-2366. So Monday, we talked about the definition of a first-time home buyer, which ironically is not somebody who's never bought a home. It is obviously for someone who has never bought a home. But if you've been out of the real estate market, maybe you were bumped out during the Great Recession of 2008. Maybe you were not a homeowner before the pandemic and you weren't sure. You've been sitting by for the last 18 plus months. And if you've been outside of the market for 3 years, you are automatic. It's like the slate, the chalkboard gets wiped clean, and you're considered for the purposes of special down payment assistance, for the purpose of special first-time home buyer financing, FHA, and some of the government programs that exist for specifically first-time home buyers. Their definition, okay, the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and FHA, they consider a first-time home buyer somebody that's not been on title for 3 years. So just remember that. And I'll tell you, even if you're not a first-time home buyer, the information that we gave out is really good. Some of the down payment assistance programs are not just for first-time home buyers. We put a lot of emphasis and probably a little bit of preference on the first-time home buyers. And that's because our own personal goals here of trying to help people get over the fear, over the hump, and get into a house first thing. And we know that first-time home buyers, or even entry-level buyers, have had a really hard time for the last 2 years because of the shortage of inventory, the high percentage of cash buyers, the high percentage of investors that were in the marketplace. And you're seeing the investors sort of step aside as the prices go up, and it becomes difficult to justify it as an investment. And we'll see what happens maybe in a little bit when a window of opportunity may open up, but probably not for a long time. And what I mean, not for a long time, as in not for a number of years, but it won't be open for a long time. When this opportunity comes, it is not the big that will eat the small, but the fast that will eat the slow when this happens. And in fact, we're looking at two really interesting deals, and I'll probably save that for next week, because we're analyzing them to make sure that they really are good deals. And if it's something, and you're an investor out there, again, attend the Fearless First Time Home Buyers, because this is information that, as an investor slash a future seller, you need to know this stuff exists, because this makes your property more valuable, more accessible to a larger number of buyers, if first-time home buyers, who are often much less price sensitive as much as they are payment sensitive. And this is an opportunity for them to get their dream home, for you to get maximum value for your investment dollars. And so that is a reason why first-time home buyers ought to attend it. Second-time home buyers ought to attend it. And even landlords and investors ought to take advantage of this great workshop. Again, November 30th, Tuesday night. And that's not that far away. It's a week from next Tuesday. So it's in just under 2 weeks is when we're going to have that. And again, to reserve your spot, it is by invitation. It's free, absolutely free, and no obligation whatsoever. But it is, again, because of demand and space and resources, you got to reserve your spot. Why not do it now? 561-861-2366. Text the letters DPA, which is the central focus of the workshop. Again, DPA, text it to 561-861-2366. So then Tuesday, we kind of went into a sneak peek of the workshop. And that was neat, because now you got a sort of an idea and a flavor if this really applied to you. And now that I told you that, I think it applies to almost anybody and everybody who's in real estate ought to be aware and cognizant of what's available in terms of basically free money for those who are eligible. And there are other programs that assist with the down payment, assist with the credit repair. And I got a surprise about that one towards the end of the show today. And you want to understand sort of the ins and outs of whether income verification, is it only tax returns? Is it only W-2s? Or is there an alternative, creative alternative way? these last couple of weeks, we have done some pretty neat things. In fact, broken and pioneered into such areas as we were talking about being able to create credit scores for people without social security numbers. That is really cool. So if you've been making payments on a mortgage but not getting credit for it, if you've been making payments on rent and not getting credit for it, then you definitely want to contact us here, because we have been doing some phenomenal things to help people, like I said, get their foot in the door towards home ownership. Remember, our mission here on the Real Estate Show is to help more people get their own piece of the American dream. So that reminds me of our Wednesday edition of the show, which is our midweek report. And one of the news articles that I thought was just absolutely phenomenal. Sometimes we have a blind spot, or maybe, as I was explaining to Jordan on the way home, picking him up from school today, that sometimes things are so obvious that we tend to see them. And I was telling him how yesterday I mentioned him on the radio and how he came up with a sixth way on how to listen to the Real Estate Show. Now, if you're a regular listener, you know that I always get on the show saying, welcome to the Real Estate, where we are here live at 5. So we're here 5 days a week, live at 5 p.m. And you can hear our show 5 different ways: on the AM dial, on the FM dial, through the through the radio apps that you can download for free on your smart devices. And then all you have to do is search for like 1470 AM Money Talk Radio or WWNN, our call letters. And if you're listening there at 5 o'clock, you can listen to it on your smartphone on the go. So AM, FM, the apps, our website, always remember this, automaticlandlord.com. And if you go to the top of the page, there's a Real Estate Show tab. And when you click on the tab in the drop down, if you're there at 5, you can listen to the live stream crystal clear on the internet. So you can listen to it at the office, at home, and also on Facebook. Well, as I mentioned yesterday, I was coming back from my run, and my son says to me, "Hey, I was listening to your show," and I'm thinking, cute, right? My 9-year-old son who is absorbing this stuff. Can you imagine how lucky he is when he gets an early running start with real estate, which, by the way, he's already interested in? And but anyway, so he tells me that he all he did is he went and he said to Alexa. So if you've got an Alexa at home, just go to Alexa and say, "Hey Alexa, play the Real Estate Show on iHeartRadio." And guess what show comes on? Yours truly. And that was pretty cool. So now we have a sixth way to listen to the Real Estate Show if you have an Alexa. And so, by the way, if you have one of the other of these home, I know that Nest has something. Obviously, Microsoft or Google has their own home version of the Home Assistant. See if it works on those also. I'd be very curious, and I'd love to get some feedback on that if it works. So let me know either at automaticlandlord.com or go to our Facebook page and send us a message there. Lots of different ways that you can contact us as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to finish up the news, and I'll talk about our midweek report about being your own landlord. This is a cool concept. Talk about what is obvious, but it took some clever reporter for me to kind of catch that little idea. So we'll talk about that when we come back. And then I want to announce our next challenge and an opportunity for some lucky folks out there to get better credit score and some cash to help pay off some of the debt in a contest that we're going to be running over the next several weeks. So don't touch that dial. There's a lot more ahead of you here on the Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner. I'm the host, and I'll be right back. Hey, Art.
Call today for a no obligation consultation and get the facts. 888-595-7777.
Hey, Mary, how are you?
That's 888-595-7777.
Dale, and Sam I Am. Sam I Am from Northern California. Am. All right, let's see here. Okay, some of the comments. Love it. Give us a thumbs up there if you're watching us there on Facebook. Appreciate that. Remember to please share us out there. Sharing really helps the algorithms there. And we're coming back. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us here on The Real Estate Show, this is another live edition of The Real Estate Show, and we are here live Monday through Friday. That is 5 days a week. 5 p.m. Eastern Time is when we're on the air live, but you can catch us on demand. Just go to our website at automaticlandlord.com. Click on the Real Estate Show tab, and in the Real Estate Show notes, each day is the link also for our podcast version, which you can either download and take it with you on the go or listen to it right there on demand 24/7, 365. So Wednesday's our midweek report. And during the midweek report, we always take whatever our theme was. And here we were talking about being fearless first-time home buyers. And one of the big headlines in the news this week was the reaction to the approval of the next big, $1 trillion bill. It obviously made the market very nervous, and it also has had a very negative influence. All these stimulus packages and so forth on inflation. And first the government was denying that there was inflation. Then when the evidence was so crystal clear and everywhere, I mean, if you see it in the gas prices, you see it in grocery prices, you see it in construction prices, you see it everywhere. And as a result, they couldn't say it wasn't there. Then they said it was temporary. And 12 months later, they announced that we just finished 12 months at 8% for the last 12 months, and 6% just in the last few months. So you've seen the inflation shooting up. As a result of that, the market didn't like it. Interest rates now are going up, which typically happens in a high inflationary period because the banks aren't going to make less money in an inflationary period and fall behind themselves. As you know, the banks don't lose. And so it was an interesting article. How do you tie that back in to our conversation of fearless first-time homebuyers? Here's one more big reason why you want to be buying real estate in spite of the inflation, because real estate is known a proven hedge against inflation. And as real estate or as inflation rises, so does the cost of real estate. So Bill Smead, the CEO of Smead Capital, a major Wall Street firm, came out as saying being your own landlord is the only way you can insulate yourself from inflation. And I thought that was really cool. Remember our website, Automatic Landlord. We're all about the landlord. And I always talk about, there's the landlord side of the coin, and then there's the homeowner side of the coin. Well, I just realized that the whole darn coin is a landlord coin now, because as a homeowner, you are, in fact, your own landlord. And the neat thing about that is one of the biggest risks, or, let's talk about the two biggest risks of being a tenant are. Number one is that your landlord is probably going to raise the rent. The majority of landlords are raising the rents right now. Why? Because there's inflation, and naturally the price of everything is going up, including rents. So if you're your own landlord, then you can decide and cooperate with your own tenant. You are your own landlord, and you are not susceptible to that big risk. The second big risk is what we're seeing frequently now, of tenants calling us looking for a new rental. Why? because their landlord received an offer that they couldn't refuse, or they've just been fatigued by this whole moratorium situation, and they're selling their properties, and therefore now the tenants have to go find somewhere else to live. If you are your own landlord, then you will make that decision much differently, and you're not at the risk of a stranger landlord, but of a very familiar landlord. So being your own landlord will protect you against being, terminated at the end of the lease, so that the landlord can sell. It will protect you from rent increases. In fact, take advantage of these super low interest rates that exist right now. And then also to boot, now you have a protection against inflation. The only way, according to Wall Street, telling you the only way to insulate yourself from inflation is to be your own landlord, i.e., own real estate, starting with the one that's right over your head. So remember, I usually say there's two types of people: those people in real estate and those people on real estate. The people in real estate own the properties, and therefore they get the benefits of real estate, i.e., a hedge against inflation, protection against increases, and all of the things we just talked about. And those people just on real estate are the tenants that are susceptible to those risks. And they're the ones who are writing the checks to the landlords, either by a direct rent check payment to your landlord if you're renting a home, house, condo, apartment, or whatever, or you're writing a check to the landlord of the business that you work through the efforts of your labor and your work. Because obviously the reason that you're hired at any business is because you create more value than they're paying you. And part of the value that they need to recover is the cost of the rent of the building that you occupy. So, and P.S., even if the business owner owns the building or that you work in, well, guess what? Where do you think the payment to make the payment on the building comes from, then, other than from the labor that you do to either produce a service or produce a product? So that was our Wednesday, and you can see it was chock full of information. All of our shows are available. You can go back and listen to any one of them on demand on our website at automaticlandlord.com. But I wanted to tell you that, and this will be a big announcement. I'm going to go into a lot of detail on this, but we have a grand prize of $10,000, a second runner-up prize of $5,000, and a whole bunch of other prizes, including free coaching towards building and improving your credit. This is going to be really cool. If you want to learn, if you want to get ahead of the curve, and you want to get into this contest early, text 720. That's the ideal credit score. Text 720 to 561-861-2366 for our report and your chance to get free credit building coaching. And that'll be one-on-one coaching. This is not just, we're going to tell you the information on the air, which we'll give a lot of it out there, but we will have customized, personalized, confidential coaching for a few lucky winners. But in order to win, you got to, again, type in 720 to 561-861-2366. Well, that's it for our time today. We're done for the week. TGIF, TGIF, TGIF. Until our next live show on Monday, drive safe, make it a great weekend, and make it a great day. All right, Art, that's it for today. TGIF and TGI gone. Have a great one. Let's see here. Don't forget to wind down our YouTube presence. I do that sometimes, and I end up having like a 2-hour long video